everybody, Survivor Driver here, riding right beside you for yet another commute. And for some music today, we're going to listen to a tremendous musician by the name of Eric Johnson, live in Texas, Austin, Texas, playing a piece called Cliffs of Dover. I'll tell you, if you got a nice, brisk, sunny day like we've got today here in British Columbia, pop this on and go for a drive, or even just go and stand around in your patio with an espresso. It's just nothing like it. Just a great piece of music. He's an astounding musician. And aside from that, what I'm going to talk about today is the legacy media. I saw a tremendous address that Stefan Molyn gave to the EU Parliament. Was just astounding, and man, I'll tell you, I don't know, I've got to give them credit. The whole time I was thinking to myself, you know, what made the EU ask Stefan Molyn to address them? Not that he isn't a great choice, but just, you know, I guess there's some people there that, well, I think, you know what, even if they have nefarious goals in mind, they're still going to want to know who their competition is, and Stefan Molyn is definitely their competition. So I guess they wanted to see what he had to say, and I mean, he had a lot to say, and he had a lot of intelligent things to say. You know, you're going up against one of the best when you're talking about Molyneux, and I would say you're actually going up against one of the most honest as well. I think he's going to give you the goods straight, and that's certainly what I got out of it. You know, he had the appropriate amount of vigor and, really, to be perfectly frank, at certain points, disgust with the left media that has been slanting the narrative in Western civilization. Really, to just broadly speaking, this idea that everything the left does that's immoral, lacking of virtue, and has no integrity is perfectly fine, but you know, conservative grows a crooked toenail and there's a big issue. So he really called them out on that. I'm kind of, you know, I'm not really belittling it, but I'm not laying it out as serious as he put it, but he had some tremendous points. He was dead serious, and I don't think they had, he let them know in no uncertain terms that the independent media is not kowtowing to the legacy media. They are giving people genuine information. They're giving people the truth, and that's why they're winning in this battle, hands down. And it doesn't matter if you're talking about guys like Stefan Molyneux, Scott Adams, Mike Cernovich, Alex Jones, Mike Rivero, Lauren Southern, Faith Goldie, and the various people that work on InfoWars. There's a lot of them, too many to mention here, but these people are all doing their best, I think, anyway. And you know, and if I'm being suckered, I'm being suckered. I'll pay the price for it. But you know, these people are all doing tremendous work to really get the information out to their fellow countrymen and countrywomen. You know, and you know, in a broader sense, the Western civilization. And these people, I think, really genuinely sense the urgency of the situation, that it's very hard to have a cohesive, peaceful society that can progress if you're not dealing with legitimate information coming out of your media. And I mean, you know, it's right in line with another video I did called Indicators, where, you know, we need indicators as human beings to understand what is going on around us. And we've gotten very used in modern civilization with all the technology we have to being able to access information in a mass form. You know, it's really part of who we are as a civilization. And when we have information that's compromised, things can get ugly really fast. And you know, you see this as Scott Adams described people with Trump derangement syndrome. Well, when you've got a media telling you that somebody who may potentially get in power and the people that support him, so like Trump and Trump supporters, are nothing but misogynists and racists, and really they're just basically Nazis, and these people completely buy into it. And then on the other side of that narrative, of that same narrative, you've got them also, the media that is, saying at the same time that there's no way Trump is going to win, this bad Nazi, misogynist, racist Nazi, there's no way he's going to win because Hillary Clinton's chances are in the 90 percentile, you know. And it's like Scott Adams said in an interview with Rubin, I can't remember the gentleman's first name, but on the Rubin report, I think it's Dave Rubin. You know, Scott Adams said that these people suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, it's for real. You know, they were told their world was a certain way, and when Trump won, they found out their world was nothing like it was, or like they were told, and like they believed. And so it's, as Scott Adams said, he said, these people are not going to look in the mirror looking for an answer to why the world is not as they thought it was and were told it was. They're not going to look in the mirror and say, oh, well, maybe the explanation for all this is that I've been acting like a fucking idiot for 2 years. You know, and he's right. They're not going to do that. He's going to be the odd one that will, that actually really wants to know what's happening in the world. But the vast majority of them are going to do exactly what Scott Adams said. They're going to say to themselves, oh my God, it's worse than I thought. Oh my God, Trump has more power and control than I thought. Oh my God, the Nazi supporters of Trump are more plentiful than I originally thought. And, you know, their world starts collapsing around them. You know, and look at the civil unrest, even though it was, relatively speaking to other countries, it was minor. Still, it's civil unrest, and I think it was also fostered. That civil unrest was fostered by Soros-funded NGOs, and I'm sure other participants that financed Hillary Clinton just to find out that she was truly as incompetent as everybody always thought. And that's why she lost an election that was rigged in her favor. But you can see, though, that people that don't have accurate information, when the narrative is intentionally slanted for nefarious reasons, you know, it can really lead to upset and turmoil. So it was good to see Molyn get up there and make these points. I'm going to have to check out Lauren Southern has apparently addressed the EU as well. And then you have other milestones happening, like right now, like Mike Cernovich's movie Hoaxed, which I saw it twice. It was a tremendous piece of work, just excellent, very timely, very accurate. I'm not sure I would say it was eye-opening, because most of the people on the right that were watching this last election closely were aware of what was going on in the media prior to this last election and the build-up to it, right? I mean, this didn't happen just with Trump, but they sure started laying it on thick because they were just terrified Trump was going to win. But what I found it was really eye-opening with Hoaxed was the retrospective quality to it, just how far the media has fallen and how long it's been going on. Um, it's just every day, and for at least 2 years. Let's just say from the starting point of, well, let's say from the starting point of the campaign of the 2016 election. So you're looking at 3 years. Every day, it's a barrage of spin and falsehoods, and all slanting in favor of the left, down to the point now where they're just outright playing cheesy little games, like when a Democrat, I think he's a congressman in Virginia, gets caught being about as racist as he can get, doing the blackface thing. He gets caught on CNN. They categorize him as a Republican, like literally categorize the guy as if he's a Republican, label him as a Republican, so that they don't get saddled with the racist thing. I mean, it's just absolutely outrageous. It's just so tacky, so cheesy. Oh, we'll just put an R here. Like how condescending to the public at large. We'll just put an R in front of this guy's name instead of a D for Democrat. And as if, the American public is so stupid and the independent media is so unobservant that nobody's going to say, hey man, they just listed this guy as a fucking Republican and he's a Democrat. He's a blackface Democrat. He's a KKK Democrat, who were the party that invented the KKK, by the way. That is, you've fallen pretty far when you're playing games like that. So, you've got Molyn addressing the EU and Lauren Southern addressing the EU, specifically about media. Hoaxed coming out, and there's just a huge number of layoffs taking place now in the media. What was the figure here? The total figure for a number of outlets. For Vice Media, Gannett, Huffington Post. There's another one that doesn't come to mind right now. Oh, BuzzFeed. And there was another one also. I think the total so far is up to 2,100 layoffs so far this year. And it's only February. We've only gotten into February. Vice Media, it was 10% of their staff right across the board. That's substantial. And they are going to focus just on TV and movies, I think. See, because they can't play the serious game, right? They can't play. They can't compete in the real information era with the independents. They've got nothing going for them unless they're just throwing out, again, lies, spins, deception. So they have to get out of that game. They can't do it anymore. Not to mention, by the way, one of their journalists, Vice Media's journalist, I think it was Vice, I'm pretty sure, just got nailed for drug deals in Australia. Some kind of a drug thing happening, and was arrested, charged. So these are just high integrity individuals here, as we can see. Keep telling myself I'm going to fix the brake pads on my front, and I keep not doing it. So just huge amounts of layoffs, and for me, it's the golden age. I got rid of cable at least 20 years ago now, and it was so timely. I was so interested in what was happening in that. I'm in Canada here. I'm in British Columbia, but I was so interested in what was happening in that U.S. election that when I had all of these independent media sources at my disposal, it was just phenomenal. Like, there was Right Side Broadcasting, Golden State Times. These are just strictly news. Not really any commentary. You know, a little bit of commentary if they're at a Trump rally before and after, but otherwise it was just straight news. Again, InfoWars, whatreallyhappened.com, Molyn, and Molyn was frequently interviewing through the election process Bill Whittle. It was just a huge amount of information, and this was the funny thing is that so many people think that the independent media is inaccurate, fake news, and all of that kind of stuff. And people that I've talked to on a personal level, because I went back to join a work team just after the Trump got elected, man, and you should have, and it was a whole pile of women I was working with. You should have seen the long faces. And when they found out that I liked Trump, they were just frothing out the mouth. One of them threw a box at me. I'm just lucky it was an empty box. But you know, just again, that Trump derangement syndrome, and they're still suffering it. You just say the word Trump and they just start frothing at the mouth again. They're pretty loopy. Oh, I wasn't supposed to go this way because there's lots of ice. I'm supposed to be just sticking to the main road. Oh well, so much for that game plan. So what was going on for me is, like, for people that were watching the independent media and getting their information from the independent media, for again, this milestone in human history of this Trump election, we, in traveling in those circles, in the independent media circles, we were, I think it's safe to say, we were all convinced, I guess probably about 3 to 4 months before the election, that we knew Trump was going to win. The only way that he wasn't going to win was if they could falsify enough votes, right? If they could get enough, you know, if they could rig the election, you know, to a large enough degree, a significant degree, yeah, Trump would lose. But, you know, just on the sheer numbers of people showing up to his rallies, it started to become absolutely clear that Trump was the, you know, rising star, so to speak, and Hillary Clinton was the sinking ship. And, you know, still you had the media out there pumping out the fake news about Hillary being ahead. Now, of course, they had to narrow that gap of her lead as it got closer to the election, because, you know, these guys, you know, make their coin on being accurate. You know, I mean, if they were to still be saying that, oh, it's a 90% chance that Hillary Clinton's going to win 3 days before the election and she gets throttled, you know, these guys are going to be out of business for the next election, I'll tell you that. But in the circles of the independent media, we all knew what was going to happen. And, you know, I would bump into the odd person before I went back to this particular workplace saying things like, oh, there's no way he's going to win. And, you know, they were just all so shocked at the outcome. And I've subsequently spoken to a few people at work and said, you know, in the circles I traveled in the independent media, we all knew that Trump was going to win, that the only thing that was going to stop him from winning is if they rigged the election to the appropriate degree, and that it was a rigged election. And you wouldn't believe how many people just absolutely refuse to acknowledge that that election was rigged in Hillary Clinton's favor. I mean, all you had to do is go back and look at these recounts that they started doing afterward, how that all came to a crashing end because they were terrified of being found out, because the deeper they looked into it, the more they found the election rigging was in favor of Hillary Clinton. That's why they had to come up with that goofball story about some Russians somewhere causing trouble. That they're still going on about. Here's a perfect example of just the lunacy of the media still pumping out this Russia thing. Just unbelievable. But anyway, it's time to take a break for some of that music. Eric Johnson, Cliffs of Dover, live from Austin, Texas. Just brilliant guitar playing. So here we go. Let's give that a listen right now. Alright, there you go, folks. Cliffs of Dover, Eric Johnson. I had to play that a little bit longer than I normally play a music segment because the guy is so good. But if I could just round this discussion off by encouraging people, get rid of your cable. It's not worth it. They're pumping out rubbish. Get used to finding your information on independent media. You'll find it very eye-opening and mind-expanding. There's lots of it out there. They're completely trustworthy if you find the right ones, but everybody makes mistakes. So it doesn't matter who it is. But you come to know who the well-researched people are, and the people that are just kind of winging it, that are serious about it, but don't have the resources necessarily at their disposal. That doesn't mean that they aren't genuine about getting accurate information. But one guy that I didn't mention is Greg Hunter, USA Watchdog. He does great stuff. He's an extra mainstream media guy. So again, Greg Hunter, Mike Rivero, Mike Cernovich, Dave Rubin, Stefan Molyneux. Anyway, that's it for Survivor Driver for today, folks. Thanks for joining me. I authorize you to be a complete pervert and follow that like button on my behalf. Thanks again, people. Hi, guy.